Welcome to our channel, where you can find the most dramatic, unexpected, and unstoppable episodes from the Beyond the Gate series. If you love stories full of intrigue, betrayal and shocks that will take your breath away, then make sure you subscribe and follow the channel so you don't miss any explosive moments. Now, let's watch one of the most shocking developments from this hot series. The news of Andre's death in a car accident spread like a storm in the community, leaving everyone who had ever been in contact with him in deep shock. Not only because he was a highly influential figure in the underground business and political world, but also because the way he passed away was so sudden, so unusual, and full of the smell of a sophisticated assassination. The car he was driving crashed into the median outside the town in the early morning, bursting into flames before the fire department could get to it. The first thing that made investigators suspicious was the excessive speed, despite the fact that the stretch of road was notoriously dangerous and frequently posted speed limits. But what made things even more sinister was when forensic technicians discovered that the car's braking system had been tampered with. The brake lines had been neatly cut, with no signs of natural wear or mechanical failure. This was no mechanical failure. This was intentional, and Andre was clearly not the only one privy to too many secrets. As soon as the report was sent to the police station, a special investigation team was formed, led by an experienced inspector named Smitty. Smitty was no stranger to Andre. In fact, he had followed him through a series of complex money laundering cases involving sham charities for which Andre had been a strategic advisor. But Smitty also understands that Andre is just the tip of a huge iceberg. And this death may be the only chance to expose the entire dark network of power that is manipulating the town from behind the thick curtain. The investigation opens up a series of complicated overlapping relationships. Ashley, Andre's longtime lover, is the first person to be summoned for questioning. She appeared with swollen eyes from crying, but her attitude was so calm, so controlled, that Smitty could not help but be suspicious. She said that the night before the accident, Andre left her house in a bad mood, after an argument about the investment fund money that Ashley had just discovered had been secretly transferred to an overseas account. Andre did not explain clearly, only telling her not to ask questions she did not understand. It is worth mentioning that, before leaving, he received a call from an anonymous number that Ashley accidentally saw on the screen when he left the dinner table. The call lasted less than a minute, and then he was almost a different person. Tense, glancing out the window repeatedly, then abruptly leaving. Smitty had someone retrieve the phone's data, but Andre's cell phone was never found at the scene. The fire department confirmed that it was not found in the burned car, nor was there any location signal from Andre's iCloud account. This made things even more mysterious. The killer not only wanted Andre dead, but also wanted to erase all evidence that could link him to the victim. Meanwhile, in the forensic room, a conclusion that made the entire investigation team freeze. Andre's adrenaline level was much higher than normal, and there were traces of a central nervous system depressant. This raised the hypothesis that Andre had been poisoned before his death, slowing his reflexes. With his car without brakes and his mind clouded, he had no chance of survival. Tracing back to the last people who had seen Andre, Smitty discovered another name that appeared repeatedly in Andre's diary. A businessman named Derek, who had been a close associate and then a rival as the two became embroiled in a power struggle on the Urban Development Council. Derek had been ousted from a multi-million-dollar construction contract by Andre. And it was Derek who had recently been in contact with a group of professional hackers from Eastern Europe, hired to break into traffic surveillance systems. Police traced the shady money flows in Derek's secondary account and discovered a large payment to a fake car maintenance company, opened under an assumed name just a week before Andre's car crashed. Ashley, meanwhile, begins to unravel. She is followed, receives furtive photographs from her apartment window, and one night, when she gets into her car, she discovers a dagger embedded in the driver's seat, along with a single handwritten note, "Shut up or die like him." Despite her panic, she decides to go see Smitty and tell him a secret she has never dared to share. That Andre is in possession of a secret dossier containing information about a shadowy organization with links to politicians and high-ranking police officers who trade information and manipulate local elections. The whereabouts of that dossier are unknown, but if it is revealed, it will bring down a series of names. The following night, Ashley's apartment is broken into. She escapes through the fire escape but seriously injures her leg after falling from the third floor. While she was hospitalized, she was placed under heavy security, but an undercover nurse managed to approach her and inject her with an unknown drug. Fortunately, the hospital's security camera system captured the intruder and identified him as a former henchman of Derek, who is currently wanted in several states. He disappeared before the police arrived, forcing the investigation team to speed up the process of solving the case. At the same time, a major turning point occurred when a mechanical engineer who had been hired by Andre to maintain his personal car came forward and revealed that recently, Andre had asked him to install a hidden camera inside the car's dashboard to record every journey, as a precaution. After a week of searching, the investigation team finally discovered a small hard drive mounted under the center console, which was undamaged by the fire thanks to the thick insulation. The data contained within revealed Andre's entire journey, and in particular the moment a gloved, technical-suited man secretly opened the hood of the car as it parked outside a private garage. The man's face was not visible, but the watch he was wearing, a limited edition of only 50 worldwide, helped identify him. It was Derek. Smitty obtained an arrest warrant and led a task force to raid Derek's mansion in the middle of the night. But the man escaped through a secret tunnel leading to a helipad. A breathless chase ensued, and he was finally caught as he attempted to leave the border using false papers. At the investigation headquarters, after nearly 3 days of absolute silence, Derek finally revealed his motive. Andre had in his possession a list of people who had accepted bribes to approve the construction of a new residential area, among them Derek, the mayor, and a deputy chief of police. If the file were made public, the entire network would collapse. Killing Andre was the only way to keep it quiet forever. What no one expected, however, was that the file, after being found by Ashley in a safe hidden in the basement of Andre's secret lakeside home, also contained another list. A list of people Andre had bribed to kill business rivals. Even hired someone to fake an accident to eliminate witnesses. Andre was not just a victim. He had been part of the darkness, and his death, while shocking, was the result of an endless cycle of revenge. The case closed with a series of officials arrested, the network of power dismantled. But also opened up an unanswered question. How many more Andres were out there, and how many more cleverly disguised deaths would there be, when the truth was always traded for lives? And if you think that's the end of the tragedy, beware. Because a never-before-seen video has just been leaked from an anonymous encrypted server. In the clip, Andre appears, alive, in an unfamiliar location, looking straight into the camera and saying, "I know who's next." If you want to know the full horror behind the story, subscribe to our channel now. The next shocks will leave you speechless.